Hello, Fearless Gamers. Matt here for Fearless Games, and welcome to another entry in the Book Corner. And today's book review is going to be on The Silent King by Guy Haley, and the Dawn of Fire series in general. The Indominus Crusade is entering its final stages of the first phase. Most of the sectors in Imperial Sanctus have gotten back under Imperial control, so Guilliman now turns his eye to the galactic south, where reports have been coming out of the Pariah Nexus of massive forces of the Necrons gathering together, seemingly multiple dynasties coming together in a unified front. So it's now up to Guilliman to handle the situation personally. But it may not be so easy as Guilliman thinks, for within the Pariah Nexus are coming whispers of a name. The name that brought all of these Necron dynasties together. The name of the one thing that some may think not even the Lord Regent can stop. The Silent King. To be perfectly honest, not a big fan of this book or the series in general. The writing structure and the narration, because I listened to the audiobook, were really good, but the story was just uninteresting. The whole idea of the Dawn of Fire thing was kind of meh, in my opinion. Its biggest problems were it started a premise in the very beginning of the book, and then we kind of like chop around to all these side characters and little tiny subplots, and you eventually kind of stumble into the end of the series, which the final act kind of left me going, that's it? That's really how we're ending this? This was the big climax? And I was kind of let down by the whole thing. So overall, I just didn't really think this was a very good book out of all the ones that I've read so far. Now, I'm going to be talking about the Dawn of Fire series as a whole, so I'll be jumping between some of the books. So, spoiler warning right now. If you want, you can cut to the end of the video where I give my final thoughts on everything. But for right now, I'm going to try and keep spoilers to a minimum, but I can't promise I can avoid them completely. And the main problem with the Dawn of Fire series was the overall story arc in it. Unlike the Horus Heresy or the Beast of Rises, there really wasn't this overall story we were working towards. The Horus Heresy, we were building towards Horus getting to Terra to face off against the Emperor. In the Beast of Rises, we had everyone trying to find a way to stop the Orcs from invading Terra and wiping out the Imperium. We had a goal. We had a end point we were working towards. And there wasn't really that much in this book series. I think the Pariah Nexus was mentioned once or twice throughout the 9 novels, but it was never like a reminder that this is where we're going. It kind of just happens. Guilliman goes, well, I've done everything else. Oh, we have reports in the Pariah Nexus. I'll go there now. It wasn't like he knew something was happening in the Pariah Nexus. Like, yes, again, they do mention some points that, the Pariah Nexus has gone silent, but there's never any seemingly interest in dealing with that situation until the Silent King novel. And, like with Silent King, a lot of the books followed this same structure problem where we were introduced to one story element, we then cut to the middle where it's just characters running around doing their thing, and some of them kind of are working towards the plot that's originally introduced, but a lot of them kind of stumble into the final act. Like a good example is in Hand of Abaddon. We're introduced to the Hand of Abaddon, setting up a ritual to forge a weapon, and then we cut to some Imperial guys, walking around, following some activity, but the meat of the middle of the story is following some League of Votann dudes that have no idea what's going on. They get attacked by Red Corsairs. They're trying to find their prospect, the Motherlode, where they can finally get their riches, and they stumble into what the Hand of Abaddon is doing. It's just like, oh, well, we'll just deal with that situation. And to be honest, every time the League of O10 showed up, I tuned out the book. I really couldn't keep track of it. I was only interested when the Hand of Abaddon showed up in the story. And as I was saying, there was also that problem between all these other books. They would build up to a story that goes nowhere. When they introduced the Hand of Abaddon and they were building through it, I thought we were building up to the Arcs of Omen, which was, the story that we tied us into 10th edition. But because they decided to change everything and make it where the Dawn of Fire leads to the Dark Imperium trilogy, we don't get that at all. We kind of just get this is what happens with the Pariah Nexus, and nothing really gets concluded in that, really. And that happens with all these other books, like, for example, Gate of Bones. Gate of Bones is where Tenebris is trying to get the Ring of Bucharest to activate an ultimate superweapon. He loses the superweapon, but he goes, it's okay, I got the ring. The ring was the important part. It's useless to me now, but it's important that I got this ring. And the ring isn't mentioned ever again. I don't even think he wears it or uses it at all in the Hand of Abaddon. They just don't go anywhere with it. Again, once the Hand of Abaddon does its thing and jets off, they never talk about them again. They're not mentioned once in The Silent King, so you're like, what happened to that story plot thread? And that was the big problem with this. There was no overarching structure to keep me invested in these books. They kind of wanted to do this, these are small events that happen during 9th edition, and here's a big thing, this is how we conclude the Pariah Nexus. And it's like, okay, but there wasn't anything keeping me invested. The only reason I kept reading the books was I was hoping we would get something. And again, The Silent King, I was really hoping for that book to be really good, and I was just very disappointed, primarily because The Silent King is barely in it. Like, it was all a big, they build him up, and then they never mention him, and then they build him up again, and then it's gone. Like, I really did not like it at all. So overall, honestly, the Dawn of Fire series isn't worth it. Nothing really happens from it, and the ending of it is just an advertisement for the Dark Imperium trilogy, which that trilogy I actually liked. I liked that a whole lot. But in general, the stories just weren't good. They were not unrememberable. Half the cast, when they showed up, like one or two of the characters that reoccurred, I remembered who they were, but it was tough to remember what happened to any of them. And overall, after I read the Dawn of Fire series, it was like I didn't read it at all. So I think this is a pass. You guys don't bother with this series at all. I could not say it's good at all. I will say there was one book that I enjoyed, to be fair. The Sea of Souls. I actually liked that book, probably because it was a centralized story. All the characters are in the same situation, dealing with it in some way, shape, or form, and so it was all self-contained. There wasn't any open-ended ending that leads nowhere. It was one and done. It starts the story, it ends the story, and finished. So I think I really enjoyed that one. If it wasn't a Dawn of Fire novel, it would have just been fine on its own. So that is really all it is for me. What did you guys think? Did you like these books? Did you hate them? Give me your opinion on that. I would really like to hear it. So thank you all for watching, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.